Wagwan sports fans, welcome back to this That Sports TV, the place you guys come to get the best, most interesting and everything sports topics, discussions and debates on the internet. But before we get into today's video, don't forget to like this one, leave a comment, subscribe to this That Sports TV, and do one more thing for me, and that's to share the video to at least 10 people, but get to 6 subscribers. Because if each and every one of you guys can manage to do that, do you know how many subscribers that would get us by the end of the day? People realize that I've been doing these videos, especially when I do the video them by myself. I haven't been introducing myself. I take it for granted that you guys already know me, and that is not true. I'm not on a fame, I'm not on a popularity. You see me? So I am Rush, and feel like today I'm a nice video for you. I feel like this video is due, by the way. Actually wanted to do it from last year, but you know, I feel like we have more time and we can digest the information that we got so far and make a better video. So today is all about judging Steve McClaren's run so far. How good has Steve McClaren been doing as the Reggae Boys head coach, the Jamaica Senior Men's National Team head coach? And we have a couple parameters that we're going to use to judge him. And I want you guys to communicate with me. Leave your thoughts in the comment section, because I honestly want to know how people feel about Steve McClaren. I feel like it's hot and cold. Some people believe in him. Some people kind of say, where this man of the Demness division. So I am here to kind of break it down and use a few things to highlight what he's been doing good, what he's been doing bad, and then make a holistic judgment. That's what I'm here for. But I really want you guys to leave your comments in the comment section. Not only will that tell me what you guys think, but it will also boost the channel. You see me? And I really that want. So leave your thoughts in the comment section. As I said, people, this video is all about judging Steve McClaren's run as Jamaica Senior Men's National Team's head coach so far. It's a short sample size, but I feel like we can do a good judgment. I feel like we can use the small amount of games that he's played to get an idea of what he wants to do, if it is going to work, what we like about it, what we don't like about it. So let's get right into it. Alright, people, so if we're going to judge a coach, there are a few things that you have to look at. So I'm going to use 4 areas. I'm going to use 4 parameters to get an understanding of what Steve McClaren has been doing as a Reggae Boys head coach so far. So the 4 areas that I'm going to use, obviously I understand that there are more things that we can use, but it's a small sample size, so I'm just going to use 4 things. Because I feel like I'll do the sample size small. These 4 things give you a good idea of what he's trying to do, what he's done so far, and we can look into the future and see what we're going to get. So the 4 things that I'm going to use to judge Steve McClaren is results. Football is a results business. If you're not getting the job done on paper, if you're not getting the job done in the games, we'll often say I do a bad job, and vice versa. So results. Second thing I'm going to use is tactical and technical approach. Style of play. Where am I tried up on the park? What is he asking the players to do? What are we seeing from the Reggae Boys? Number 3 is squad selection. That's a big part of his job, and we just want to run it off with something nice and fun. So I'm going to use intangibles. You get me? I say / fan coach relationship. How the fans feel about Steve McClaren. Do they believe in him? Do they want to see him as a part of the Reggae Boys future? That is the last point. So let's get right into it, my people. So as I said, the first thing is results. You can't talk about anything and anyone in football and not speak about the results that they're getting. A lot of people have this idea that you can do a good job and not get the results. That only lasts for a while. You can be a great manager. If you're not winning games, you're going to get fired. Nobody's going to fire the whole squad. Nobody's going to stop using 30 people and get 30 new people to represent the country. If you have good ideas and the football look good on the park and all of that, but you're not winning the games, we're going to say, big man, you can't get it done, go. So as I said, first thing to talk about, results and statistics. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. Alright, this is where I'm at. Let's go. So first thing I'm going to talk about, how many games has coach Steve McClaren played with Jamaica so far. So he took over after the Copa America, before the September window. So he's played 6 games with the Jamaica Senior Men's National Team so far. He's all CONCACAF Nations League game. He hasn't played a World Cup qualifying game just yet. So we only can judge him on an entire competition, which is fair. So Steve McClaren has taken charge of an entire competition so far, even though it's 6 games. So he's played 6 games. He is won 2 of those 6 games, drawn 2 of those 6 games, and lost 2 of those 6 games. So that already is not great win percentages. That's just 33.3% 3.33333%, he's only winning one game every 3 matches. Now, obviously, we understand that there are some nuances to that. The fact that we're not always playing the same level opponent, we don't always have our strongest squad, all of that. So to not just use the win percentage, me have a look upon some of the games them and how we played in the games and where we favorites, where we underdogs and all of that. Did we manage to get a result? So win percentage not great, 33.3%. Steve McClaren, you need to win more games than that. That not gonna work. So the first game that he played was Jamaica versus Cuba in the National Stadium. That was not a great game at all. We drew with Cuba when we were heavy favorites. We were supposed to beat Cuba 4-0. You get me? I said that would have been a good result. If you look on the game, let me look on the stats real quick. I can't remember all of them games off the top of my head. So, statistics real quick. Alright, so let's look at the statistics. So we dominated possession, 73% of the ball. We created 3 big chances to 21 shots, and we forced their keeper into 7 saves. So the statistics look like we pepper them. Obviously, I was watching that game. I got very frustrated with the fact that we are just not putting the ball in the back of the net. We created a lot of chances and we dominated the game, and rightfully so. But at the end of the day, you have to take your chances and you have to, get across the line. This game, I am not going to put down to Steve McClaren's bad coaching. I think he did enough to get the team to win the game. And the man them just never take advantage of the chances that we created. Them never put the ball in the back of the net. And therefore, we can't leave that up to the coach. You get me? I say, him have the players where him have him can't just go buy players. This is not club football. So the first game against Cuba in the National Stadium, we drew that game, but at the same time, we're not going to lay all of the blame at the feet of Steve McClaren. We were wasteful in front of goals, and their keeper made a lot of good saves. So, that, we drew the first game at home with Cuba. Not good. I'm a div not good. You make up no more excuse for him. Just not good enough. Alright. The second game we played away to Honduras. You see me? And Honduras dominated possession. They took more shots than us, but we won the game. You get me? And I believe even though this was relatively a decent game from us, I believe that we could have done so much more. I believe that we could have done so much more in this game. The fact that Steve McClaren wants to play with the ball, the fact that even though this is 40%, while watching that game, I feel like Jamaica did have much more than 40% of the ball. You see me? So I feel like we could have done more in the game, but he won the game 2-0. And as you'll see, as a part of Steve McClaren's reign, his away performances are much better than his home performances. So that is something that I'm going to mention later down in the video. But props to him, hats off. He went to Honduras, which is a hard place to go, and won the game. So my little personal frustrations in that game, I'm not gonna bring up. It's fine. I'm even not gonna bring up that. You get me? I said that is just a fun. Right now, I try to be as objective as possible. Obviously, people, I'm just looking at the statistics. Me now watch the game over, so maybe I'm gonna miss a few things. But just on the results and statistics part of the game, we went to Honduras, which is always a hard game. We're struggling in Central America, and we went there and we won the game 2-1. So big up to that. Then again, we went to Nicaragua, which is also a relative, it's not even a hard game, it is easier than the Honduras game. We were supposed to beat Nicaragua, and we did. You get me? I say somebody even not gonna make up nothing. We were supposed to beat Nicaragua, and we did. Gave Nicaragua 2-0. Good job from the team, good job from the coach. The fourth match Steve McClaren took charge of was Jamaica versus Honduras in the National Stadium. I was there for this game. We drew the game, and again, at home, can't manage to get across the line, can't manage to beat teams on our home turf, just not good enough. In this game, Jamaica seemed like we don't know where to do. It seemed like we were all over the place. We were trying to play out from the back, we were trying to keep possession, it just wasn't working. Obviously, people may have get to the tactical part of things, but just in terms of results and looking at the stats for face value, drawing to Honduras in the National Stadium, I am not pleased with that. Honduras is not a walkover, but I am never pleased with drawing to Honduras in the National Stadium. Away, I would have been okay with it. But at home, we're after beat Honduras. 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. That's what we expect from Jamaica versus Honduras in the office. Then we went into November, and Jamaica played USA in the National Stadium. I was also at this game, and we lost that game 1-0. This was actually not a bad game from Jamaica. I believe that we fought hard. It's just that it wasn't coming together. I feel like a few players were trying their best. Liam Bailey had a decent game. Magee, I believe, came on and showed some sparks. Ronaldo Cephas came on and showed some sparks. Shaman Nichols won a penalty early. We missed it. Them are great. It could have been a different game. You know, they had a goal line clearance. My God, we should have won that game. But this was a decent showing from the boys. But the coach again, I feel like could have done better in this game. But I'm never going to punish Jamaica for losing to USA. On our home turf, we got 1-0. Me nah go kill me. It is USA after all. It's the best team in CONCACAF. Me nah go kill you for that. Then we went away and we lost the game 4-2. You see me? In that game, the first half was so. It was more of the same. You know, trying to pass or trying to keep possession in America, in cold. I think they brought us to, was it Missouri or somewhere for this game? And we just didn't look good in the first half. Second half, we came out and we just take the game to them. And this is the game that actually made me confident in the idea that I think Jamaica should play more pragmatic football, a chaotic style of play, commit numbers forward and all of that. Because I realize that Jamaica, whenever we're down and our backs are against the wall, that is when we should play our best football. So why can't we just try to do that from the start? Sounds simplistic, but I think it can work. So all in all, Jamaica played 6 games under Steve McClaren. We drew 2 of those games, lost 2 of those games, and only won 2 of those games. Didn't manage. We went scoreless in 1, 2. No, we went scoreless in 1, 2, 3 games. So we went scoreless in 3 of the 3 games, and we only scored. So we scored 2, 4, and 2, 6. So we scored 6 goals in 6 games. We average a goal a game. Not bad stats. Obviously, I know that and I say work. We want to be averaging more than a goal a game, especially in CONCACAF. But 6 games, sample size small. Some of the games them work against you. I believe that the criticism with these results, and now I'm going to talk about the results in terms of what I think is causing. No, not what I think is causing the results, but how we should be performing in games like these. In CONCACAF, bro, I believe that Jamaica should always beat the underdogs and give USA, Canada, Mexico, Panama a run for their money every single time. You know, if you want to show Costa Rica, I can show it in that. Panama and Costa Rica, I think we're supposed to beat. Other than that, USA, Canada, Mexico, I believe that we're supposed to fight with them. And if I lose that game 5-2, I'm not upset. But this Cuba versus Jamaica draw, atrocious. This Honduras versus Jamaica draw, atrocious. You get me? I say kudos for winning those games away. We are an away team apparently. Yes, me so. Coach McClaren have to improve on the home statistics. We're supposed to be dominating in National Stadium. Affy do better than that. So those are the results. As I said, underwhelming results in terms of only winning 2 of 6 games. I feel like we should have won 4 of 6 games, if I'm being honest. We're supposed to beat Cuba in the National Stadium. We're supposed to beat Honduras in the National Stadium. So worst case, we should have escaped with 3 out of 6 games, but underperformed in terms of getting the results, underperformed in terms of delivering. New coach, have some kinks for work out, but it be what it be, it is what it is. You see me? The second area that I'm going to use is tactical and technical approach. You know, what has Steve McClaren been doing, you know, on the pitch? What is he asking the players to do? Is it working? Is it not working? Do I like it? Do I don't like what is going on? So the first thing in terms of technical approach and style and tactical style of approach, technical approach that I'm going to speak of is style of play. You know, what is he asking the players to do? What does Steve McClaren feel passionate about in terms of, you know, setting his team up to play a football game? And the truth is, in one aspect of the game, I like exactly what he's doing. In the other aspect, I don't like it. So defensively, I feel like he likes his team setting up solid defensively. You see me? He wants his team to keep their shape. He wants his midfielders to always be in position. His 4 defenders don't take any risk. They get the ball, you know, away as soon as possible. Their wing backs don't do too much. They don't overlap. They don't underlap. They just keep it simple. That is exactly what he asked his defense to do. Pressing, not necessarily a part of Jamaica's game at the moment, but in terms of when the other team has possession, sitting back and remaining in shape defensively is a part of Steve McClaren's philosophy at the moment. I don't know if many people see that. And I personally like that part of the game. We don't concede many goals, except when we get a 4-2 to America. We only conceded like 2 goals outside of that. Maybe 1. You see me, against that 1 goal against Honduras. The other games we don't really concede. You get me? I say we get 1 to America and then we get 4 from America. But before that, we only conceded 1 goal to Honduras. So defensively, him set up well. Andre Blake is always playing well, of course. So that contributes to us not conceding goals. But what I see with my eyes is that Coach McClaren wants his team to have a solid defensive structure. You get me? I say, want a clear 4 that don't take risk. He want a midfield, a simple midfield that have 2 dogs in there that fight, and then he want all them other players over the park for work hard. You see me? So defensively, I like what he does. In terms of going forward, he likes playing out of the back. He likes to keep possession. He likes to pass the ball around. And this is the area of the game that I don't necessarily like. I don't like the fact that he thinks the players that we have are better than what they are. You get me? I say, obviously we have good players, but they are good at what they do. What they don't do is pass this ball. We don't have very good passers in this team. I'm telling you the truth. We don't have very good midfielders with the ball at their feet. We have midfielders that don't want the ball, that run from the ball and likes to tackle. In fact, we have a centre back or a right back playing as a central defensive midfielder. So in terms of vision, in terms of half turns, in terms of finding space on the park as a midfielder, he isn't necessarily the greatest at that. You get me? I say, I'm talking about Joe Latebo there, by the way, people. But in terms of breaking up play and being a dog and trying to fight and giving his all in the middle of the park, he's going to do that. So I think it's a bit unfair of Steve McClaren to ask these players to play a possession-based type football. You get me? I say, we see Paula try it before, we see I'm here arguments to try it before, where they want Jamaica to play with the ball. I don't necessarily think that's the way to go. You get me? I say, I think we should counter teams. I think we should try to play fast transition football, pragmatic football, energetic football, commit numbers forward, overlapping wing backs, because that's what we have. That's what we have. We have speed, we have power, we have skill, and we have size. So go forward, get the ball into the box as fast as possible, take shots on people's goal, and I don't think many teams can outscore us. But Steve McClaren's approach in terms of keeping possession, keep it cute, thread the line, play the risky pass into the midfielder, play the ball to your centre back keeper. No, give back your keeper the ball. Keeper, ping it over to your left back. I don't necessarily think that's the way to go, because we don't have Andre Blake isn't great with the ball at his feet, one of the best goalkeepers in this hemisphere, but in terms of with the ball at his feet, he's not the greatest. He has been improving, and I must say kudos to Andre Blake. But in terms of being this show starter in terms of transitioning the ball up the park, that is not Andre Blake's game, and that is not how he has been playing football for his entire career. So I don't necessarily like him doing that. Now the other players that we have good ball handlers in Deshaun Bernard, Ethan Pinnock, Damian Lowe, Richard King. All of those guys, they're good ball handlers. Amari Bell, Dexter Lembiki. So these guys can pass the ball. But it's just that when the ball gets to the next phase of the field, the next part of the play, when it gets to our midfielders, they're just not quick enough. They don't make their decisions fast enough. Whenever they get in tight spaces, they're going to lose the ball. So I don't necessarily feel like that approach from the coach is what we need as a team, and it's definitely not taking advantage of the things that we have going for us, which I said, speed, power, skill, trickery. That's what we have going for us, and size, and that don't take advantage of that at all. One thing that I can say he tries to do is play that long ball. Sometimes he just switch off and forget about the possession based football and just go direct. Ask Mason Holgate or ask Ethan Pinnock or ask Damian Lowe to just kick the ball to one side of the field, lump the ball up to our forwards and try to ask them to do something. Because we have big centre forwards, I think he does that to release some pressure, but at the same time, when I say direct, that is not what I mean. When we say get the ball to our attackers as fast as possible, I don't mean to just kick it to them head. You get me? So we try come up with some patterns of play, come up with some combinations, and get the ball to him and get it to the attacking midfielder, get it out there to the winger, overlapping wing back, play the ball, get a square into the box, things like that. You get me? So try to just be a bit creative with it. But in terms of keeping the ball and allowing the team to sit and then try to break them down, that is not Jamaica, and that will never be Jamaica. So I've seen 3 coaches try it now and it hasn't been working. I don't think that's the way to go. So in terms of criticizing Coach McClaren's tactical and technical approach, I don't think it is good enough. I don't think he has done well enough to realize and recognize the talent that he has at his disposal. I don't think he's using his players well. And I don't think the players are executing his vision well enough. And I think sooner or later he will have to change. I would say a similar thing with Coach Algrimson, where him come and him did have field style of play, and the players just couldn't do it, and him just revert to the same old same one. You know, remember when Algrimson come in and press we see in the um Gold Cup, you know, press we see and win the ball high and get the ball out and high energy, possession when they win it back, and then it just fizzled out, it broke down. Then the man trying 4-4-2 still not work, and then just revert to long ball after long ball, not having any control of the football game. Yes, so I think soon enough Steve McClaren will have to come to the realization that it is not working and it must be changed. Right now, he's trying to impose his philosophy and his style and imprint on the Jamaica Senior Men's national team, but at the moment I think he's doing a bad job at taking advantage of the strengths of the Jamaican team. That's just my opinion of it, people. It has only been 6 games. It has only been 6 games and he's only lost 2 of them. You get me, I say? And one of the games that him lose are away. You see me? So he's only lost 1 game at home, but he is never won a game at home. You see me? So there are things to work on, but are only 6 game, people. So maybe some people say this video is unfair, but we gotta do what we gotta do. Next thing that I'm going to talk about is squad selection. Squad selection. And maybe someone think me I go beat the coach in squad selection right now, but I actually think his squad selection has been good. I think he selected all the right players. I believe that he's given players opportunity. Players that deserve the opportunity, he's giving them the opportunity. Some of them take it, some of them don't take it. But in terms of calling the players that should be called, I believe that he did that for the most parts. When we think about the players that should be on the match card or should be in the squad, for the most parts, him get it right. You see me? His starting lineup most of the time I don't necessarily agree with. What can another CFS do to get a start? Bring on Cant Mixon too late most of the time. So maybe putting a trust in a table and a little bit too much for me. Stuff like that. You get me? I say so. I believe his squad selection is good enough, but I don't think his team selection in terms of his 11 on the day is good enough. You get me? I say. Yeah. In terms of debuts and players that he has introduced to the senior men's national team, I think he's done a good job with that. He's only been in charge for 6 months, and he's managed to recruit 2 players that are, we can say, I've always said that I don't necessarily want everybody to come to Jamaica to play. I want players that can move the needle. I want players that I think are better than what we already have, and I believe that these 2 players that Coach McClaren brought in the last 6 months are definitely that. He brought in Isaac Hayden and he brought in Mason Greenwood. I wish he brought in Mason Holgate. And those 2 players are players that are better than some players that we have in the position. Isaac Hayden should be a starter for Jamaica, and I think will be a starter for Jamaica. So big props to that. And people, that is one of the reasons why I feel like the Federation wanted Steve McClaren, because he will have the pull to get some of these players that are a bit in 2 minds about representing Jamaica. He's been on in the football circuit in England, and that is where a lot of our dual nats are. And he'll be able to communicate with them properly. He'll be able to get across to them. He'll be able to get their respect and get them to come and play for him. You see me? So that is one of the reasons why we wanted him. And since coming in, he's managed to pull off 2 in 6 months. So big up for that. Him get it done. Now, reintroduction of Liam Bailey. That's another thing. He's managed to get across to Liam Bailey. He's managed to give Liam Bailey a clean slate, using his words, by the way. So I have to say, being a player's coach is something that we can expect from Steve McClaren. Obviously, he's one player, but he doesn't throw his players under bus. So I guess I can, put that under that branch too, in terms of being a player coach. But yeah, that's a part of the squad selection. Get Liam Bailey back on board. He's supposed to be our best player. He wasn't playing for Jamaica for a while. Him come back. Steve McClaren is responsible for bringing him back. Liam Bailey mentioned that Steve McClaren has been speaking for months and months and months before he even come back, to the point where him feel like him know him already. And then eventually when Liam Bailey came back, he's not necessarily the return that we would have wanted, but he came back nevertheless. Last part of squad selection that I'm going to talk about is the players that he relied on in the last 6 months. And Other people will complain about these players, but we had a lot of injuries. We had a lot of players not able to make it and come. A lot of players dropping out. So coach would have to call for the players with him want. Where him think could have do the job. Now, two players that he used that a lot of people question. He used Norman Campbell a bit too much for me. Using Norman Campbell was a bit too much for me. But at the end of the day, Liam Bailey was not here, and somebody needs to fill that slot. Some people could say put Kaim Dixon. Some people could say call for Jamal Lowe, but Jamal Lowe was here. Jamal Lowe didn't do anything. I'm not talking about being here 2-3 years ago. Jamal Lowe was here in 2014. He played, and it was just not good enough. You get me? I say we saw him as a winger, we saw him as a forward, and it just was not good enough. You get me? I say so. He gave Norman Campbell an opportunity, and for all of the bad things that Norman Campbell do when he's playing for Jamaica, Norman Campbell work hard, and Norman Campbell tries his very best to do what a winger is supposed to do. Put the ball up on the ground and beat somebody and try to create something. Unfortunately, I don't think he's good enough for it for representing Jamaica, but he tries. So I'm not going to kill the coach for selecting him. I'm going to ask that you don't use him or rely on him as much as you do now. With saying that, who will I say to use? I have to think about that and come up with a video feed. But at the moment, I think he relies on Norman Campbell a little bit too much. The other player that I think he, brought in the last window and gave some opportunities, the last two windows and gave some opportunities, was Tariq Magee. A lot of people, I can't say a lot of people were, a lot of people was happy with that. Honestly, I don't think a lot of people was fond of the fact that he's relying on Tariq Magee so heavily. Obviously, a lot of people believe that Tariq Magee is a good player, but in terms of thinking that Tariq Magee is going to be the Messiah for Jamaica, I think a lot of people, are over that bridge. You see me? So, personally, I don't hate it. I think Tariq Magee is a very good player. However, I don't think Tariq Magee should be the starting number 10 for Jamaica. An option off the bench, no problem, because we don't have a lot of players in that position. But to start and be the one that is going to drive us to victories, I don't think Tariq Magee is that guy. But an option off the bench to come and switch things up, to come and create some chances when the legs of the opposing defenders are tired and midfielders are tired, I think Tariq Magee can serve us in that role. You see me? So, what are the three things that I went over so far? Results, tactical and technical approach, squad selection. Decent so far. Fan coach relationship, or the intangibles. When you speak about Steve McClaren, you talk about charisma. You get me? So when you look on the interviews that he gives, when you look on the interaction with some of the new media, when you talk about players interviewing him, I remember him speaking about the sun and the food and all of that. And I think that did a little bit of good to get the fans liking him. However, Steve McClaren had the fans in the National Stadium with them waiting for something to cheer for. I just didn't give them anything. So I feel like that took back a little bit, of them liking him, and a lot of people left that last November window, thinking, where this man I do? You get me? I said, this coach don't know what am I doing? I play the wrong players, this, that. You get me? I said, so in terms of as a person and being relatable and speaking to the media and all that, I feel like he does a good job. I feel like he's clear in his approach. In his press conferences, he is clear. He speaks of what he wants. He likes what he likes, and he doesn't like what he doesn't like. And I appreciate that. I don't expect a coach to come out and just tell us everything that is going on in his dressing room. But in terms of speaking about what he saw on the pitch, his approach, and being clear with that, you have to give him some props for that. No, I don't think the fans appreciate what they see from him, even though he speaks well and he's clear with his intentions. I don't think the fans appreciate all that he does and appreciate the way he goes about asking Jamaica to play. So right now, if me go judge the temperature upon Steve McClaren, obviously the verdict is still out. But if I'm going to judge the temperature, I think in terms of fan-coach relationship, Steve McClaren is at about a 7. He's only at a 7. He's not at a rising 7. He's at a dropping 7. I feel like he came in and he started with fun. All of the fans were pleased. We're getting this big coach that's supposed to know a lot about football from Manchester United. And I feel like a lot of people were at 8.5, 9s. And right now I feel like it's a dropping 7. You understand? So May I give the other grade for the other three sections? So obviously, fan coach relationship, 7. I feel like it's a 7 out of 10 at the moment. If I'm going to talk about results, I feel like it is. The results right now are a 5 out of 10. I'm going to say 5 out of 10. We lost 2 games to America. We're not favorites in those games. We won 2 games away in CONCACAF, but we haven't managed to win on our home turf just yet. So, I have to just say it's so for me in terms of results. So, results 5 out of 10. Fan coach relationship 7 out of 10. Tactical and technical approach 5 out of 10. I don't think he's doing well enough with what he has so far. So I think he needs to do better with that. That's also a 5 out of 10. I'm just going to give that so. And squad selection, I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. 8 out of 10. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Him introduced 2 top players. The players are committed to him, and him select is just that some of the man them just injured and can't come play. So I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. So 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 5 out of 10. All in all, I'm going to give that around a 7 point. I'm going to give him a 7 point. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. You see me? I give him a 7.2 out of 10. The Steve McClaren so far as the Jamaica Senior Men's national team head coach, out of 10, his grade is 7 out of 10. You see me, people? So, feel like a few things that Steve McClaren can do to improve that grading is to switch up his style of play, his technical and tactical approach in terms of using the strengths of his team, using the pace some more, using the trickery and the skill some more, unlocking Dexter Lembikis and Amari Bell, who can bomb forward and get crosses into the box. Don't rely so heavily on your midfield, commit numbers forward and play some and score some goal. Also, where Steve McClaren can improve is to get the fans on his side real quick, but boss. Obviously, they're not all the way off your side, but get them liking it real quick. And results, need to start winning some games, bossy. Don't stop drawing games. Stop drawing games in the national stadium. You have to win games in the national stadium, and that will bode well for you. So, that's how I feel about it. Steve McClaren, as his Jamaica Senior Men's national coach so far, a 7 out of 10. I think he will do better. I still believe in Steve McClaren. I think he knows football well enough to get something out of these boys. I think he knows that he took on a job that isn't going to be Manchester United or England. So be prepared for that. I don't want to hear another coach complain about the resources that he has. We're a developing country. We don't have a great FA. And you know that before taking on the job. Him same speak to Amir Algrimson, and I would assume that Algrimson tell him all of the challenges we have, and him know where he inherit. And he did take the job anyways. So with that said, I think there is more to come. I think there is better to come. And Steve McClaren for 2025, I think will do us well. I think at the end of this year, we will be speaking about McClaren as turning Jamaica football around. We have a couple competitions to play, and I just have a gut feeling. I'm just trusting his supposed brilliance. He's going to turn it around. You see me, people? So, leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think about the 4 areas that I mentioned, and give you a grade. What you think? Give me a grade. Results, tactical approach, squad selection, fan coach relationship. Give me a grade out of 10 for each area, and then give me a final grade on Steve McClaren as a Jamaica Senior Men's national team head coach so far. People, if you like the video, don't forget to like the video. Leave a comment, most important, and leave a comment. It's good for the channel. It will push the video to other people, and them are gonna think people like look on my face. I think people like hear me talk. People forget about the ticker we are running on this. I need to change that. That game they gone long time. But anyways, if you don't like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to this side at Sports TV, and the one more thing for me, and that's to share the video to at least 10 people, get us 6 subscribers, because if each and every one of you guys can manage to do that, do you know how many subscribers that will get us by the end of the day? But for now, this was this side at Sports TV. I can't go on.